My ex's family ambushed my new girlfriend at a restaurant. He'll leave you like he left her, her mother sneered. My girlfriend simply smiled and placed her badge on the table. The color drained from their faces when they realized who they'd been threatening. 34 males, never thought I'd be the guy writing one of these posts. But after what went down last night, I need to get this off my chest. Fair warning, this is going to be a wild ride. For context, I work as a firefighter paramedic. I've been doing this job for about 12 years now, and I love it, despite the crazy hours and emotional toll. It's how I met my ex-wife, Melissa, who was a hospital administrator at the trauma center where we drop patients. We were married for 6 years before things went south. The short version, she cheated. The long version, she had been unhappy for a while but never communicated it. Instead of talking to me like an adult, she started sleeping with one of the doctors at her hospital. I found out when I surprised her at work for lunch one day and caught them in his office. Classic, right? The divorce was messy. Her family, particularly her mother, Rebecca, and sister Courtney, went on the offensive immediately. They spread rumors that I was the one who cheated, that I was abusive, completely false, and that I had abandoned Melissa during a difficult time. The truth was that Melissa's family had never thought I was good enough. They wanted her to marry a doctor or lawyer, not a glorified ambulance driver, her mother's exact words. I tried to keep things civil for a while, but eventually I had to cut all contact with them. The divorce was finalized 2 years ago, and I've been rebuilding my life since then. I later learned that Melissa married that same doctor just 6 months after our divorce was finalized, which honestly explained a lot. 8 months ago, I met Catherine. She's smart, funny, compassionate, and honestly, the most badass woman I've ever known. She's a lieutenant in the police department's Special Victims Unit. We met when I was bringing in a victim of domestic violence, and she was the responding officer. We got talking during the follow-up, and things just clicked. We've been together solidly for these 8 months, though we've been taking things slow in terms of merging our lives. Both of us have demanding careers and past relationship baggage. Last night, we decided to try this new Italian place downtown for a date night. It was our 6-month anniversary of officially becoming a couple, and I was planning to ask her to move in with me. I had the key wrapped in a small box in my pocket and everything. The evening started perfectly. The restaurant was intimate, with dim lighting and good wine. Catherine looked stunning in a simple black dress, a rare sight since she's usually in uniform or casual clothes. We were halfway through our entrees, laughing about something stupid, when I noticed Catherine's expression change. She was looking over my shoulder, her face becoming serious. "Don't turn around," she said quietly. "But I think someone's watching us." Before I could respond, I heard a familiar voice behind me. "Well, well, well. Look who it is." My stomach dropped. I knew that voice. It was Rebecca, my ex-mother-in-law. I turned and saw her standing there with Courtney and Melissa's father, Robert. They were all dressed up, clearly there for dinner themselves. "Hello, Rebecca," I said, trying to keep my voice neutral. "Nice to see you. If you'll excuse us, we're in the middle of dinner." Rebecca's eyes narrowed as she looked at Catherine. "So this is why you threw away your marriage? Already replaced my daughter, I see." I felt a flash of anger. "That's not what happened, and you know it. Please leave us alone." By now, people at nearby tables were starting to notice the tension. A waiter hovered nearby, unsure whether to intervene. Courtney stepped forward. "You know, he'll leave you too," she said to Catherine. "That's what he does. Commits to someone, and then bails when things get tough." Catherine remained calm, watching them with an expression I couldn't quite read. It wasn't fear or anger, more like she was analyzing a situation, the way she might at a crime scene. "I think you have the wrong idea about what happened in their marriage," Catherine said, evenly. Rebecca let out a harsh laugh. "Oh, honey, you have no idea. Has he told you everything? About how he abandoned my daughter when she needed him most? How he refused counseling? How he—" "Your daughter was fucking her boss in his office." I cut in, my voice low but intense. Several nearby diners gasped. I caught them, so let's not rewrite history. Robert, who had been silent until now, put his hand on Rebecca's arm. "This isn't the place, Becky." But Rebecca was on a roll. She leaned in closer to our table, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "He'll leave you like you left her." She sneered at Catherine. Once a deserter, always a deserter. The restaurant had gone quiet. I was about to stand up and ask for the check when Catherine did something unexpected. She smiled. Not a nervous smile, but a confident one. Then she reached into her purse and placed her police badge on the table. "Lieutenant Catherine Davis, Special Victims Unit," she said calmly. "I'm very familiar with harassment laws in this state." She glanced at me briefly before continuing. "Now, you have two options. You can return to your table and enjoy your meal, or you can continue this conversation at the precinct. Your choice." The color drained from their faces. Rebecca's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. Courtney took a step back. Robert looked like he wanted the floor to swallow him whole. "You're a cop?" Rebecca finally managed. "Lieutenant," Catherine corrected. "And yes, I am. Now, is there anything else you'd like to say to us?" The restaurant was dead silent. Everyone was watching this showdown unfold. Rebecca sputtered. You can't threaten us. We have rights." Catherine nodded. "You absolutely do, including the right to remain silent, which I strongly suggest you exercise right now." A man at a nearby table snorted with laughter, breaking the tension slightly. Robert finally stepped in, practically pulling Rebecca away. "We're leaving. Come on, Becky Courtney." "Now." As they retreated, I heard Rebecca hissing. Did you know she was a cop?" Courtney just shook her head. When they were gone, the restaurant slowly returned to its normal buzz of conversation. The manager came over and apologized profusely, offering us dessert on the house. Catherine thanked him but declined, saying we were fine. Once we were alone again, I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. "I am so sorry about that," I said. "I had no idea they would be here." Catherine tucked her badge away and reached for my hand. "Don't apologize for them. It's not your fault. You were amazing," I told her. "I've never seen anyone shut Rebecca down like that." She shrugged. "Part of the job is dealing with difficult people. Though I usually don't have to do it during date night." She smiled, but then her expression turned serious. "What was that about a restraining order they mentioned?" I sighed. "There was a temporary one last year. Rebecca showed up at the fire station, screaming about how I'd ruined Melissa's life. My captain had to call security. It was humiliating, so I filed for a temporary restraining order. It expired after 6 months." Catherine nodded, understanding in her eyes. "Have they done anything else?" I hesitated, then decided she deserved the whole truth. "Melissa's brother keyed my car once, and they've called my workplace a few times with fake complaints. Nothing stuck, but it's been a lot." "That's harassment," she said, the cop in her coming out. "You could press charges." "I just wanted it all to go away," I admitted. "I thought if I ignored them, they'd eventually move on." Catherine squeezed my hand. "Some people don't move on. They feed off drama and righteousness. They need someone to blame." We finished our dinner, trying to salvage what was left of our evening. I decided to postpone the moving in question. The moment didn't feel right anymore. But as we were leaving the restaurant, Catherine pulled me aside in the parking lot. "I need to ask you something," she said. "And I need the truth." My heart sank. Here it comes, I thought. She's going to ask if what they said was true. "What really happened with your marriage?" she asked. "I know the basics, but tonight made me realize there might be more to it." I leaned against my car and told her everything. How Melissa and I had started growing apart after she got promoted. How she became more distant, working late hours. How her family had always made little digs about my career, suggesting I wasn't ambitious enough. How, when I discovered the affair, Melissa had initially tried to blame me, saying I was never emotionally available because of my job. Her family closed ranks immediately, I explained. They helped her move out while I was on shift. When I got home, half our stuff was gone. They literally packed up while I was rushing into a burning apartment building to save a family. Catherine listened without interrupting. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. "Thank you for telling me," she finally said. For what it's worth, I think you handled it with more grace than most people would have. I laughed without humor. I don't know about that. There were some dark days.
We all have those.
She stepped closer, wrapping her arms around my waist. But here's what I know for sure. You're not a deserter. You're one of the most committed people I've ever met. You commit to complete strangers every day, rushing into burning buildings, administering CPR, holding the hands of people on their worst days. That takes a special kind of person. I felt something loosen in my chest, a knot of anxiety I hadn't even realized was there. Have I told you lately that you're amazing? I asked. She smiled. You could stand to mention it more often. That's when I decided to go for it, after all. I pulled the small box from my pocket. I had something planned for tonight. It's not a ring, not yet, anyway. But I opened the box, showing her the key with a small firefighter charm attached to it. Move in with me, I said. My place or yours, I don't care. I just want to come home to you. For the first time that night, Catherine looked genuinely surprised. Then she smiled and pulled out her own keyring. There, hanging among her other keys, was a new key with a small police badge charm. Great minds think alike, she said. I was going to ask you tonight too. We both laughed, the tension of the evening finally breaking. After discussing the practical aspects, her place was bigger and closer to both our workplaces. We decided I would move in with her. As we drove home to her place, which would soon be ours, Catherine's phone buzzed. She checked it at a red light. Interesting, she said, her voice taking on that professional tone again.
What is it? I asked.
Anonymous tip just came in about a doctor at Mercy Hospital having inappropriate relationships with subordinates. Apparently, there's evidence.
She raised an eyebrow at me.
Wouldn't happen to know anything about that, would you? I raised my hands innocently. Absolutely not. But the hospital grapevine has always been active. I bet someone there finally got tired of the behavior and spoke up. She put her phone away, shaking her head but smiling. Just so we're clear, I can't and won't use my position to settle personal vendettas. Of course not, I agreed. But if information happens to find its way to the proper authorities through legitimate channels, then the system works as intended, she finished. The next day, I was on shift at the fire station when I got a text from Catherine. Apparently, the hospital was in chaos. An ethics investigation had been launched into several senior staff members, including Melissa's husband. The rumors suggested there were multiple complaints that had been buried by administration until now. A week later, we were moving my stuff into Catherine's apartment when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but Catherine nodded encouragingly. It was Melissa. Her voice was tight, controlled. Did you do this? She demanded without preamble. Do what? I asked, genuinely confused. Don't play dumb. The investigation. Mom said your new girlfriend is a cop. Did you sick her on us? I put the phone on speaker so Catherine could hear. I have no idea what you're talking about, Melissa. And Lieutenant Davis doesn't use her position for personal vendettas. Catherine smirked at me from across the room where she was unpacking my books. David is going to lose his license, Melissa said, her voice cracking. They're saying he pressured multiple employees into relationships. They're saying I was one of them. I felt a pang of something, not quite sympathy, but not satisfaction either. Were you? The silence on the other end was answer enough. I didn't do this, Melissa, I said truthfully. But maybe it's time for the truth to come out. For everyone's sake. After a long pause, she said quietly, I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I should have just asked for a divorce instead of what I did. It wasn't a full apology, but it was more than I ever expected to get. I hope you find happiness, Melissa. I really do. After we hung up, Catherine came over and wrapped her arms around me. You okay? I nodded, surprised to find that I actually was. Yeah. I think that chapter is finally closed. Catherine kissed me softly. Good. Because we have a lot of unpacking to do, and then I'm taking you to dinner. Somewhere your ex's family definitely won't be. I laughed, feeling lighter than I had in years.
It's a date, Lieutenant.
As we return to unpacking, I realize something important. Sometimes the best revenge isn't something you plan or execute. It's simply living well and finding happiness with someone who sees your worth. And sometimes it's watching karma do its work while you focus on building something new.
Catherine and I have been living together for 2 months now. Her badge and my firefighter paramedic credentials hang side by side on hooks by the door, a reminder of who we are and what we built together. And every time I see them, I smile, thinking about the look on Rebecca's face when she realized exactly who she'd been threatening.
Life has a funny way of working out sometimes.